Welcome back to Just One Question. It's a great privilege and pleasure to welcome my guest on the show today. I guess I'm calling it a show, the podcast. And this man is truly extraordinary in many ways, but I'm just going to focus on a couple for the introduction because he embarrasses easily and he's shy, and I don't want to make life hard for him. So Riaz Meghji is the author of the upcoming book, Every Conversation Counts. I am just wildly excited about this book because we had an epidemic of loneliness before the coronavirus came along. And the coronavirus just sort of revealed it for all to see and then dumped much, much worse on top of that. And so his book couldn't be more timely. I wish it was coming out tomorrow. It's going to be out in February. Riaz is a keynote speaker on human connection. Boy, do we need that. And his background, 17 years as a television broadcaster in Canada. And yeah, we have to treat him right because Canadians are nice guys and gals. And so welcome, Riaz, to the show. Tell us in a few words how you're doing.
Well, thanks. Thanks for having me on, Nick, and thanks for allowing me to work through my shyness here on Just One Question. It's a breakthrough moment for us.
Excellent.
Well, whenever the viewer is watching this, we're at the midway point of 2020, and I think I've been doing a lot of reflecting, a lot of writing, as you mentioned, about the notion of connection. And first and foremost, I could say grateful to have, our health. I've been doing this isolation phase with my wife and my 19-month-old. We've been, staying in good health, which we're grateful for. I could say I'm hopeful and excited to know sports is coming back. We the North, you see in the back, I'm curious to see what happens with basketball, because when we look at universal connectors like sports, like music concerts, like film, these are the things that bring us together that I think we've missed. So I'm excited to have that back. But above all, I would say at this point, at the midway point of 2020, I'm curious to see where we go from here. And before we started recording, I had said to you that I'd gone out for dinner for the first time since COVID happened with 3 friends, and we sat at the table and just analyzed the situation. Everyone was physically distanced at the tables. The servers were wearing face masks. And I just asked myself, how long do we do this until we can get to a point where we can get together without worrying about consequences? And I think there still are a lot of question marks of where we go from here.
Yeah, fantastic. I've been experiencing the same thing. It is that question of just what is in store for us. But that's exactly what I'm going to ask you. Just one question. A year from now, what's your best guess on where we're going to be and what the world will look like? I won't hold you to it. I won't blame you if you don't get it exactly right. But in a world where human connection is so obviously a vital need and so obviously stressed and imperiled right now, what's it going to look like a year from now?
I really like this question because we've learned so much in the 3 months that's happened with COVID. And I think the world will look different. Yet when it comes to basic human nature, it's going to feel familiar. Because the one thing that I think we've learned with human connection is it's never going away. It's not an option. It's a requirement of how creative we've been to reach out and connect with one another. And, in our conversations, even prior to this, I've said to you, and this is something that I learned when I first got into the television business, having a finance background. I didn't know what I was doing getting into TV, but I always said to myself, the best way to predict the future is to create it for yourself. And I think many of us have showcased that. This need to change has created such fascinating innovation. I mean, if we look at the past couple months, virtual graduations, virtual weddings, we're actually taping this on Canada Day tonight. There's virtual fireworks through augmented realities where you're pointing a mobile device at the sky for a 3-minute fireworks celebration. We're adapting. And I think that amount of change has fascinated me. I think that will continue, but I think the connection will stay around. And I think the best lesson I've learned from almost 2 decades of interviewing people for a living is that adversity is the best seed for resilience. And the question I even posed on social media to my community over the past week was, what's the best lesson you've learned from this pandemic? And say over 100 unique comments, 90% of them were positive and forward looking that, hey, listen, change, that's inevitable. Growth is optional. And more people were looking at, when you strip away all of the daily distractions that we have, the one thing it comes down to that we need is human connection. And I think the power of writing, how we explore that, studies done on expressive writing, how it allows us to work through things, I think is crucial on how we discover new ideas and new ways to connect. And Jodi Picoult, the author, I think she said this in the early 2000s. This is a quote that stuck with me as I've used writing as a healing process and a vehicle for creation. You can't edit a blank page. And there are days when I'm sitting there thinking, what am I going to write today? And I'm stuck. Unless we try it, unless we just put that idea out there, take a risk and fail and work through that, nothing's going to change. So now's that chance for exploration. And so I'm excited for what's going to happen. I think things will look different, but like I said off the top, human nature doesn't change. We do need to be together. We always will need to be together. And that's going to stick 1, 2, 20 years down the line.
Riaz Meghji, everybody. A great answer. Thank you for that, sir. Stay safe, stay well, and let's hope that 18-month-old kid grows up in some normal times and gets to run out and do all the things like play basketball that I know you secretly aspire to for him. So thank you very much.
I was terrible at sports, so if he steps up with some hand-eye coordination, I would be a proud papa. We'll see. We'll see what happens years from now. Thanks, Nick.